Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to go over something that you guys ask quite a bit, and simply put, the question is, will my DISSENT, or your DISSENT in this case, work with X trigger? Well, the typical answer for that is going to be, all of our firearms are actually designed to be able to work with standard drop-in AR trigger control groups, with the exception of the BR series. The other exception to that being certain FRT or binary style triggers, because there are different ways that those actually engage with the bolt carrier group, and simply put, the compact action of the DISSENT does not operate in that way. So taking a little bit of a dive here, I do have some samples here in front of us for us to be able to talk about. And the two primary things that we're going to be focusing on are going to be these two guys right here. So starting off, we have a standard bolt carrier group. Depending on the caliber, this is going to be very similar to what you're going to see in your Banshee, your Resolute, or your Endeavor. So all of these for us are going to come with what we call a full auto or M16 carrier. With a compact action in the DISSENT, you can see if we actually have these against each other, there's a lot of mass missing here on the carrier of the DISSENT. So like if you're looking at replacing or putting a different type of trigger in your DISSENT, and as you're going through the product page from that manufacturer, if anywhere on that product page it says that it requires a full auto or an M16 carrier group to operate, it's not going to work, at least not in the DISSENT. And that is primarily because it needs some type of sear engagement. So I do have right here a full auto, a registered lower, and one of the things you can see differently is there's an auto sear here. And what that auto sear requires, if this were a full buffer tube version, as this reciprocates when it's fired, this is going to go rearward into the buffer tube, the spring tension is going to push it back forward, and then you get to the point where you're seeing that this sear is going to be able to engage with that cut in the carrier. So that is going to allow that sear to be tripped. One of the differences you're going to see sometimes too is you might see an M16 carrier, or I'm sorry, you might see an AR-15 carrier as opposed to an M16 carrier, and this cut is significantly farther back, and that also will not allow that sear engagement. So all of ours have this cut, and you can see that it very easily lines up right with where that sear is, which is also going to be very similar to the location that you're going to see certain trips when it comes to the FRTs or certain binary triggers. If we take a look at the DISSENT here, you're going to see as this reciprocates, there is nothing rearward here that can come back forward and hit that trip. So DISSENT bolt carrier group is just flat out when it comes to being able to engage some type of sear trip. Now regarding 22s, we do also offer on our 22 kits a sear trip. This is available on our website. This actually just goes right toward this little rearward piece on the bolt, and then there's a groove here that this is going to allow a little bit of movement on. So when the 22 kit operates, you're going to be able to see that it can line up with that sear trip also. So we designed this for people that want to use the 22 kit in their registered full auto lower. But when it comes to different FRT or binary style triggers, there's a possibility that it will work. There's also a possibility that it won't work, just due to the geometry of some of those. Unfortunately, we don't test with all those. So if you want to try to use your 22 kit with one of those different style triggers, the sear kit's probably going to be your best option, but we cannot guarantee that it is going to work. You may have to actually take and bend this little tab, even on a full auto lower if you have one, to make sure that it engages properly with that trip, just for the fact that depending on the geometry, how much it's been used, you might have a little bit of wear. You might have to move it just a little bit to be able to get those to engage. But you know, that's one of the things that a lot of you guys ask about. And simply put, if you're looking at running an FRT, something that's going to go a little faster, and it says that you need a full auto cut carrier, this is what you need. It will not work in the DISSENT platform. So everybody, I hope that was just a little bit of information that you can use when you're trying to decide what trigger you might want to have in your DISSENT or in your Banshee or whatever firearm you get from us. And unfortunately, like I said, no go on the fast triggers on the DISSENT as of right now. But if you have any more questions, feel free to hit us up in the comments. Feel free to reach out to our customer service team. We have a contact us page on our website. It's something that you can ask these type of questions, but we like to be able to get out in front of you, or at least I like to be able to get out in front of you and show you some visuals when it comes to answering these questions for you. So guys, again, thanks for tuning in. Keep the questions coming. And as always, stay safe out there.